Good evening. Good evening. Let us come to quiet. Words are only auxiliaries. Words sometimes are an interference. The spirit of tonight is not performance. It is receptivity. The room is fuller than it looks. Listen, we are not here to collect phrases, nor to improve God with our efforts. Be still and know that I am God. Do you hear the order in that? Be still. No, not make, not plead, not push. Our opening act is a consent of the heart, a turning of the ear. The kingdom of God is within you, and within you includes this room, your chair, your breath, your next thought. So, before we begin with our minds, let us accept that we are already met by a living presence. I will help you. I will stand by in consciousness, and I ask you to let me do it without many words. The hook of this hour is plain. The room is fuller than it looks. This is no promise of theatrics. It is the simplest recognition that where you appear to sit alone, the one is present as quiet companionship. Where two or three are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them. Tonight we are many souls, but only one presence. Our work is to become receptive to that one. Do you see that? Do you feel the relief in knowing you do not bring God to this room? Omnipresence is, we do not produce God's presence. We rest in what already is and hear from there. The question that will guide the hour is this: how does inner receptivity make the unseen practical? Not mystical in the sense of strange, practical in the sense of daily bread, steady judgment, the right word not spoken, the right step taken. God appearing as you do, you follow that, is not a flattery. It is the end of distance. I and the Father are one. The one appears as son, as daughter, as you, and thus companionship is not beside you. It is your very being. When you learn to listen, you discover that guidance is not delivered from outside, but rises complete within. There will be a simple method in this hour, and it will not exhaust you. A sober practice of 90 seconds, no more. We will close the lips, quiet the room within, and wait for the still small voice. Elijah did not find God in the wind, nor in the earthquake, nor in the fire, but in a still small voice. For 90 seconds, you will not try to think truth. You will create no affirmation and chase no thought. You will wait humbly and listen. That practice, repeated faithfully, is how the listening ear is trained. Not by strain, by receptivity. Now I ask only a quiet consent. Do you see that we begin with presence, not problems? If you have come with a burden, lay it down, not to neglect it, but to unsee it as a power. Resist not evil. Give not a thought to the name of the trouble, nor to the person who seems to carry it. Let the inner eye turn to the Father's voice. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. If that is the truth of you, then your condition is a noise, not a law. We will treat it as such. You will know whether this is real by one test only: fruitage. If the presence is realized, something in your life will stabilize without fuss, without heroics. By your life experience, by the fruitage, the right call will be returned. The fear will shrug itself loose. A decision you have postponed will walk to your door and knock. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. You will not need me to tell you. The harmonies will tell you. I will help you. I will stand by in consciousness. Let the room be what it is full. The simple chair by the door, the quiet window, the lamp at your elbow, appearances only, but back of them, in them, as them, the one presence. Tonight we are practicing only this, to listen, to let as and is begin their work in us, not later, now. Be still and know, do you see? A few months ago, there was a call to a hospital room. It was late in the afternoon when halls fall quiet and machines become the loudest voices. I did not go there to teach. I did not go to explain God. I went to stand by in consciousness. When I stepped to the bedside, there were no speeches. My conversation is usually limited to, I will help you. That much I said. Then I took a chair, not too close, not too far, and we let the room be full. There was a trembling in the breath and a question in the eyes. Would it be all right? And I would not insult that holy need with platitudes. There are no accidents in divine mind as an offense when someone is frightened. So I closed the lips and turned within. Resist not evil. Give not a thought to the person or to the name on the chart. The condition was not a power. It was the arm of flesh, mesmerism, noise. Drop it. The work was not to improve matter or to instruct the body. The work was to consent to what is. Omnipresence is. Life is. Peace is. The kingdom of God is within you. Do you follow that? Not across the city or outside the window, within. God the invisible appears as Son the visible. God appearing as you, as I rested there, and the listening began. In that listening, I did not wait for visions, and I do not describe entities. There was simply a sense, steady and quiet, that we were not two alone. The air loosened, as if someone had opened a window that was not in the wall. The clock, still clicking, ceased to command attention. A nurse came to the door, saw nothing to do, and let the door rest. There was a tenderness in the space between the breaths, the kind that makes you want to whisper even when no one is sleeping. Peace, be still, not shouted, known. The shoulders softened. The hands stopped their small argument with the sheet. The fear sighed, and with it the breathing found its rhythm. No one had been convinced of anything. The presence had simply been realized, and help had arrived without words. After a time, how long I do not measure in minutes. Only in peace, one sentence rose. Not out of my thinking, but out of that stillness itself. Fear not, for I am with thee. I did not argue it. I did not add commentaries or assurances of my own. I spoke it softly once. The eyes that had been searching no longer searched. There was companionship now, but not mine and not his, as separate selves. It was the one being itself as the comfort of that room. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. If that is true, and it is, then harmony is native, not imported. Do you see? By your life experience, by the fruitage, there was no parade as we left, no dramatic testimony that night. But the next morning, the report was simple. Good sleep for the first time in days. Appetite returned in measure. The attendants eased in their faces. That is fruitage. No display, no show. The presence, realized, had done what explanations never do. If there had been no improvement, I would not have excused it with fancy language. Either the presence is realized and harmony appears, or it is not yet realized, and we go back to the chair, back to listening, back to is. The lesson is quiet and exact. Presence precedes words. Words are only auxiliaries. Words sometimes are an interference. If spirit impels a word, you will know it by the hush that carries it. If not, silence says more than doctrine. Never talk at fear. Let love be there, and fear forgets itself. Give not a thought to conditions. Consent to as and is. God appearing as individual being is the companionship, and the present isness is the healing. Do you follow that the help came before any explanation? This is how you protect the sacredness of the work. No drama, no descriptions of entities, only the practical effect of realized presence. When next you are called, stand by, say, I will help you, then listen. Let the room be what it is, full. Be still and know that I am God. From that knowing, guidance may give you a word or none. Either way, you will know by one test only, fruitage. And the fruitage, when it comes, will speak for you. Now let us take the word that ends distance as. God is manifest as individual being, not God in you, not God near you, not God sometimes visiting you, God as you. Do you see what that removes at a stroke? It removes the lonely self who tries to attract God, the anxious seeker who believes the temple is across town or in a future hour. I and the Father are one. That is not poetry. It is ontology. He that hath seen me hath seen the Father, and the Father is not a traveler. The Father is the life that is your life, the mind that knows as your knowing, the love that loves as your loving. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. If that is the verdict of the infinite upon itself, there is no interval to cross. With as companionship ceases to be imported, it is inherent. The presence you felt in the room does not step in and out like a neighbor with a casserole. The presence is the very isness of your being and appears as your thought when thought is quiet, as your word when a word is given, as your step when a step is necessary. Do you follow that? If you accept as, then you abandon the superstition of a self apart from God trying to get God. There is no such self. There is only God, the invisible appearing as Son, the visible. That is your identity without distance. Now, until this is not merely said but seen, you will practice a specific way of looking. Look back of the eye. When a person stands before you, friend or stranger, patient or adversary, refuse the picture that personality paints, whether human good or human evil. Unsee both. Turn within the same instant and let one recognition rise. God appearing as this one, Christ here, Son here. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Do not argue it. Do not announce it. Behold it. The instant the beholding is true, something softens, perhaps first in you, and then it shows forth as gentler speech, sane decision, restored order. That is the sign that you have ceased meeting a person and have met the one, as you will find that the companionship you thought you needed from outside is strangely already functioning within you as guidance. The invisible companions I sometimes speak of are not a parade of entities. They are not visitors. They are functions of the one presence as your very consciousness, the angel thought, the quiet instruction, the protective pause, the wise restraint. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. That voice is not a broadcast over mountains. It is the Father knowing as you're knowing, the Christ sounding where your attention has gone still. You could call it inspiration. You could call it intuition. Better to call it what it is. God appearing as you and therefore guiding you as himself. This is the beginning of ending fear. If God is over there and you are over here, there is legitimate fear, distance, delay, doubt. But if the Father and the Son are one, if the vine and the branch share one life, then help is not in transit. It is the very fact of your being. Therefore, when trouble presents its noise, do not run to fetch God. Drop the picture. Look back of the eye. Consent to, as in that instant, the lonely self dissolves, and with it the panic that feeds it. Lo, I am with you, alway. Not arriving, not departing, alway. Do you see that as ends the search and begins the seeing? I am not asking you to make a metaphysician speech. I am asking you to form the habit of beholding. In the morning as you shave or smooth your hair, look into the mirror and say nothing aloud. Behold, God appearing as this one. Before you answer a call, behold. Before you enter a store, behold. In a quarrel, behold. In a hospital, behold. Train the eye behind the eye until it cannot be fooled by costume, yours or another's. Then notice the fruitage, a day that arranges itself without strain, the right words arriving without rehearsal, the inner yes or no before the mind has listed pros and cons. That is not your cleverness. That is as functioning. If tonight you take only this, you have enough. There is no distance in oneness. God appears as you, and that is your companionship. You will not need to borrow courage, nor will you need to advertise holiness. The vine will feed the branch as itself, and the branch will bear according to its nature. Let us rest in that. Let us behold. Do you see? Now let us take the other word that steadies the boat, is, if as ends distance, is ends effort. You are never trying to heal somebody. You are never trying to improve a condition. You are never attempting to add God to a scene. You are living in the realization of what already is. Do you see? When you sit down to this work, you are not a mechanic with tools. You are a witness. In him we live and move and have our being. That is not a future attainment. That is isness. If you begin there, pressure lifts because there is nothing to make. There is only something to behold. Harmony is, life is, love is, abundance is, omnipresence is, I am. Learn that cadence until your nerves. Remember it before your mind answers questions. This is not suggestion, it is recognition. The truth does not come because you repeat it. The truth is, and when you become still enough to consent, it demonstrates you are not trying to make 2 times 2 become 4. It is 4. Whether you are shouting or sleeping, it is 4. The moment you awaken, the strain to produce a result dissolves, and with it the noise that was preventing you from hearing. Take no thought for your life is not irresponsibility. It is an invitation to relinquish the useless habit of manufacturing what already stands finished. How then do you work when the difficulty shouts? You do nothing to the appearance. You do nothing to the person. Resist not evil. Drop it. Return to isness. Let the breath settle and the mind stand at attention before a presence that needs no assistance. Say nothing or say little, and only if spirit impels it. 1 or 2 phrases may serve to turn you. Omnipresence is, I am, it is finished. Do not argue. Every argument assumes reality in the picture. Your practice is to unsee the picture as power and rest in the fact that God is the only is. In that rest, listening becomes possible because fixing is stopped. Do you follow that? Scripture anchors this not as theory, but as fact. Before Abraham was, I am. Not I shall be, I am. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Is. The sufficiency precedes the demand. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Stayed on what? On isness, not on conditions. The master did not wrestle the storm into quiet. He lived out from is and said, peace, be still, as one stating a present law. When you refuse the temptation to brace yourself against appearances and instead abide in is, you discover a curious gentleness. The jaws unclench. The measuring stops. The ear opens. Guidance, which is God functioning as your own awareness, has a place to speak. Do not mistake this for passivity. It is the most alert activity you will ever know. It is a standing attention upon what is, a soldiering in silence. I live, yet not I. Christ liveth my life. There is doing, but it is done out from is, not toward is. The sign that you have found it is simple. Fruitage without strain. The appointment that was impossible arranges itself. The word you intended to speak is not spoken, and the quarrel never ripens. The body, unargued with, comes to peace as if it had remembered something it knew before. Fear shouted. Money questions, quiet in surprising ways, an invoice forgiven, an order placed, a skill recognized. By your life experience, by the fruitage. So let this become your immediate habit. The moment a picture presents itself, do not pick up tools. Lay them down. Resist not evil. Drop it. Return to isness. Sit 90 seconds, if that is all you can take, and let the truth be itself. Harmony is. Life is. Love is. Abundance is. Omnipresence is. I am. From that isness you will hear what cannot be heard by a mind hammering at problems. Do you see that isness is the silence in which we hear? Now, as the ear grows sensitive, a question often rises. Who or what is it that meets us in that stillness? I use the phrase invisible companions, but do not let the imagination run to pageantry. Companions here means function, not phenomenon. Guidance, assurance, protection, these are the ways the one presence operates as your own awareness when you are still enough to consent. Do you see? We are not introducing a second world of personalities. We are recognizing the modes of a single presence. Scripture gives us words for this operation without turning it into a carnival. Are they not all ministering spirits sent forth to minister for them who shall be heirs of salvation? That is not a roll call of names. That is a description of function ministering. We are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, not a seance, but the atmosphere of realized grace in which we run with patience. He shall give his angels charge over thee. They shall bear thee up. Again, function, bearing up, guarding, steadying. The Hebrew poets called it the angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him. All of these are ways of saying, when you abide in, is the one appears as timely help. Not a parade of entities. One presence, many functions. We must keep our sanity. No spiritism, no summoning, no curiosity about forms, wings, names, or colors. Words are only auxiliaries. Pictures are often an interference. The moment you decorate the mystery, you step down from function into fascination And fascination is a very subtle noise. Resist not evil. Resist not spectacle. Drop it. Return to isness. The same one, appearing as you, appears as the pause that saves you, the check in the throat that withholds a foolish remark, the light on a verse that steadies your morning, the nudge to take one street and not another, the courage to make a call now and to wait on another. That is companionship. You can test it by fruitage. If it is real, it will be quiet and exact. The door that had no hinge will open. The call will return at the moment it can be heard. A document will arrive from a direction you did not foresee. The body will let go of its fight without your argument. There will be help, but not theatrics. There will be assurance, but not emotional jags. There will be protection, but not superstition. If your experience fills with stories that glorify phenomena rather than God, beware. The still small voice does not shout about itself. It does its work and leaves a hush in its wake. Remember as and is. As says, God appearing as you is your companionship. Is says, the operation of grace is already present. Therefore, the companions you sense are not visitors from a distance. They are the one presence functioning as your consciousness in this moment. My sheep hear my voice. Where is that voice? Within the listening you have cultivated. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. That word, realized at the core, becomes the very staff that guides your steps. The shepherd is not outside the sheep. Life moves the flock as its own instinct. Do you follow that? Let me be practical. An impulse comes to you to wait 10 minutes before sending the message. Obey it. A thought rises, clean and unhurried, to say only, I will help you, and then be still. Obey it. Your hand reaches for a doorknob and stops. You sense danger, though you cannot name it. Obey it. You do not need to file a report for these things. You need to bear witness to their fruitage and quietly give thanks. If there is no fruitage, if confusion follows, drop it and return to is. The one is not confused. If you are, you have introduced a second power. End it. Do you see that phenomenon distracts while function delivers? We do not catalog angels. We consent to ministry. We do not chase voices. We cultivate the listening ear. We do not summon help. We rest where help is. And in that rest, the one comes to us as our own right knowing, our own right restraint, our own right courage. Invisible companions? Yes, when you mean by that the one acting as your capacity to be guided, anything else is a toy. And toys are for children. This is a sober way. This is not a lazy man's work. But it is simple. Be still. Know. Let as and is do their work. And let the fruitage tell you all you need to know. Do you see? Now we must face the thing that drowns the whisper. Noise. Not a person. Not a condition. Not a law noise. Fear. Loneliness. Urgency. Self-accusation. The clamor of deadlines. The dizziness of headlines. None of these are powers. They are impersonal mesmerism. The age-old belief in two powers wearing fresh costumes. Do you see? The spell says, there is God, and there is also something else. That is the only lie. And when you agree with it, the ear fills with static, and the still small voice is lost beneath it. When you see noise as impersonal nothingness, the spell thins, and you hear, we use plain pictures to defang it. A rope in dusk looks like a snake. The heart jumps. The body believes its own picture. Turn on the light, and there is no snake to kill, and no hero to congratulate. You did not conquer a reptile. You corrected a seeing. There is the non-existent white poodle that a child mourns for no dog, only a story agreed upon for a moment. There is the old phrase from our Hebrew fathers, with him is an arm of flesh, but with us is the Lord our God. The arm of flesh is the name they gave to nothingness, appearance is power. Resist not evil. Do not wrestle shadows. Drop it. Turn on the light. Let us be exact with our practice. 3 steps. First, pause, even 2 breaths. You step out of the rushing river that tells you to decide, to defend, to explain. Second, name it for what it is: impersonal suggestion, hypnotism, the belief in 2 powers. Not my fear, not her anger, not that diagnosis. Suggestion. The tempter spoke to the master, and he answered with, "Get thee behind me, Satan," not Peter, not a person. Do you follow that? Third, return to isness without argument, not a duel of words. 1 or 2 quiet recognitions. Omnipresence is. I am. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Then be still. Listen. You will be tempted to fight. The mind wants to argue, to lecture the picture into submission. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. Give not a thought to the person or to the condition. If you make the person the issue, you have made the noise personal, and now it sticks to you. If you make the condition the issue, you have agreed there are 2 powers and volunteered for a war that cannot be won because it does not exist. Drop it. Let the impersonal be impersonal, and it dissolves for lack of your attention. Let God be God, and you will have nothing to fix. This does not excuse wrongdoing. It removes its mask. When you see that the heat in a quarrel is not the man but mesmerism, compassion appears where judgment stood. When you find the shop closing and the bill due, and the heart goes tight, pause. Name its suggestion. Return to isness. Before Abraham was, I am. Out of that isness, guidance speaks a call to make, a plan to alter, an unneeded expense to release, or simply the inward hush that ends panic. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, not adrenaline, peace. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know that this is more than theory. The breath evens. The clock that shouted loses its throne. The cup no longer rattles in the saucer. A word you were about to throw is not spoken, and the fire has no fuel. Sleep that went missing returns. The report you dreaded arrives softened or does not arrive at all. And even when the picture remains for a season, it has no teeth. You are kept in perfect peace because your mind is stayed on him. Elijah did not find God in the wind, nor in the earthquake, nor in the fire. The noise passed, and then the still small voice. The order remains. Noise, then hush, then hearing. Make this simple habit your shield. Pause. Name it impersonal suggestion. Return to isness. Do not embroider it. Do not tell it to your neighbor. Practice it in the kitchen, at the telephone, on the sidewalk, in a waiting room. The result is always the same. The spell loosens, the ear opens. Presence has a clear path to appear as your next right step. Do you see that depersonalizing breaks the spell that drowns the whisper? If so, you have taken away the only weapon the noise ever had, your belief in it. Now the work becomes what it always is. Be still and know. Then listen. Let us make this very simple, very doable. Brief, disciplined receptivity trains the ear that hears what already is. Not hours, 90 seconds. Words are only auxiliaries. Words sometimes are an interference. This is not a seance, not a hunt for messages. It is the modest posture that lets the one presence reveal itself as your own awareness. Do you see? Set a timer for 90 seconds so the mind will not bargain. Take a seat as you are, posture easy, feet on the floor, eyes soft or closed. No goals, no promise to become spiritual in a minute and a half. Just receptivity. Resist not evil, resist not good. Drop it. Let the room be as it is, and let you be as you are, in, as, and is. Omnipresence is. I am. Now, we keep a simple order. First, 30 seconds settling. Breathe once, naturally. Not a technique, just notice the breath arrive and depart. Then, inwardly and without strain, whisper, "Here I am, Father." Do not improve the sentence. Do not add explanations. "Here I am, Father." Then be still. Speak, for thy servant heareth. You are not trying to hear. You are presenting yourself as you are to what is. That is enough for the first span. If a restlessness kicks at the door, let it kick and pass. You are not the doorkeeper. Presence attends to presence. Second 30 seconds, wordless consent. No affirmations now. No trimming of thoughts. Availability only. If pictures of the day float by, if a grocery list tumbles, if a memory tries to barter for attention, let it move like a cloud that does not stop to rain on you. You need not push. You need not fix. This is the moment when the habit of making gives way to the humility of isness. Before Abraham was, I am. Let that be the air you breathe without saying it. Consent silently to be the branch that does not manufacture sap. Do you follow that? As and is are doing the work. You are consenting. Final 30 seconds, receptive notice. If a word forms of its own accord, receive it. Do not reach. If there is only peace, receive that. If your attention is drawn to a name, a face, a line of scripture, touch it once without embroidery and let it rest. The test is not fireworks. It is the quiet shift. The shoulders descend a fraction. The room feels wide where it felt narrow. The will loosens. That is fruitage in miniature. Close with gratitude, a simple thank you, Father, without looking for reasons. Then open your eyes. A few guardrails. Do not fish for messages. The moment you angle for a catch, you have left isness and entered appetite, and appetite is noise. Measure by the hush, not by content. If a word comes, it will carry its own authority by the peace that accompanies it. If nothing comes but quiet, that may be the entire answer for this moment. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Stayed on what? Not on sentences, but on isness. Keep this practice, little, frequent, sincere. 3 or 4 times a day is better than one long siege. In the doorway before a meeting, in the car before the engine turns, with the kettle, waiting for the quiet boil. 90 seconds. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know whether the ear is being trained. You will find yourself pausing before speaking as if someone wiser were sharing your tongue. You will take one road instead of another without drama and later see why. A question that demanded an answer will cease to demand an answer itself. Not because you have become clever, but because you have become available. My sheep hear my voice. Where? In the field of stillness, you have watered for 90 seconds at a time. This is not a lazy man's work, but it is gentle. It is the soldier's watch in miniature. Keep it. Keep it when nothing seems to happen. Keep it when much seems to happen. The listening ear becomes your natural state. And then the day arranges itself around the one who is already here. Do you see? Now we come to the test that saves you from guesswork. Fruitage. By their fruits ye shall know them. Not by emotion, not by vocabulary, not by the glow after a meeting, by your life experience, by the fruitage. Do you see? Words are only auxiliaries. They may lift a veil for a moment, but realization proves itself by the harmony that shows up without forcing. When presence is realized, not imagined, not asserted, but realized, it leaves a trace as unmistakable as dew on grass at morning. First, the inner fruit, the rush quiets. You will find that decisions come cleaner, as if excess options fall away before you sort them. You will speak more simply, and kindness will appear without your rehearsing it. Courage will be present without bravado, no swelling of the chest, only a steady yes or no that does not tremble. The appetite to explain yourself diminishes. The need to win diminishes. A quarrel that used to claim you now loses its hook because something in you is rested in isness, the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Keep like a sentry at night. That keeping is fruitage within. Then the outer fruit, timings arrange themselves in ways beyond your scheduling. The knot in a project inexplicably loosens. An email comes from the hand you could not reach. A piece of information arrives on the day it is needed, and not before. A room that was tight with agitation softens after you have entered silently beholding, and no one can later say just why the air is lighter. Bodies remember balance without argument. Needs meet themselves without the strain of campaigns, an invoice forgiven, a new client introduced by a path you did not map, an error on a bill reversed without your insisting. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want is. When realized, it demonstrates as my cup runneth over, not as slogans, but as quiet outcomes. Let us make it practical and honest with ourselves. If, as you maintain the practice of as and is, problems ease naturally and quickly, if doors open without you battering them, if tensions diffuse before they harden, then realization is present. If not if, after all your talk and excitement, confusion increases, quarrels ripen, or you are driven by urgency, then you may be in an emotional jag. Drop it. Return to practice. Sit your 90 seconds, pause, name suggestion as impersonal, and come back to isness. Give not a thought to the person or the condition. Be still and know that I am God. Knowing is not noise. It is the atmosphere from which right action is given. You will help yourself by keeping a simple log, not a diary for storytelling, a few lines that witness to the quiet helps. Date it. A sentence or two, paused before speaking, argument dissolved. Left 5 minutes later than planned, avoided the snore. Nudged to wait on sending the message, better response next morning. Woke with a verse day, steadied around it. These notes are not trophies. They are teacher's marks. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits. Forgetting is easy. Remembering trains trust. Over weeks, the page will show a pattern that your moods cannot argue with. And if the page is thin for a season, it will not condemn you. It will gently say, return to the altar, practice, listen. Do you see that measurement protects you from self-deception? Without it, zeal masquerades as realization and leaves you empty. With it, you are kept sober and encouraged at once. The measure is simple. Is there more peace? Are choices cleaner? Are relationships softening? Are provisions appearing without compulsion? If yes, continue. If no, reduce words, abandon theatrics, and deepen receptivity. My sheep hear my voice. Where that voice is truly heard, it leads to green pastures, not to performance anxiety. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know that the unseen presence has become practical, God appearing as your very being, guiding as quiet companionship, verified not by your speech, but by what quietly comes to pass. Do you follow that? There are moments when the call comes hot and the air is thin, an accident, a diagnosis, a child in the night. In those moments, words become very poor tools. Presence is the ministry. I have learned to keep my conversation to two words that travel. I will help you. Then be silent. Stand by in consciousness. Words are only auxiliaries. In crisis, they are sometimes an interference. Do you see? Presence plus a simple promise does the work speeches cannot do. Here is the procedure, and it does not change because the picture shouts. Give not a thought to the person or to the condition. Resist not evil. Drop it. Return to isness. Be still and know that I am God. Know, do not chatter. Acknowledge without strain. Omnipresence is. I am. Fear not, for I am with thee. Then listen, not for sentences to throw, not for a clever instruction, but for the still, small voice that functions as your own awareness when you have ceased to wrestle. If something is given to say, it will be few words, gentle, clean, without argument. If nothing is given, say nothing more. Stand by. Let me tell you a quiet night. The telephone rang panic. A mother with a child burning, and the house in confusion. I will help you, I said, and ended my speech. Then I turned wholly from mother and child, from numbers on a thermometer, from the arm of flesh that tempts to two powers. I stood in silence. Here I am, Father. Omnipresence is. I am. No plea, no battle, only recognition. I do not know how long on a clock, but I know the moment the hush arrived. My peace I give unto you. I did not hear the sentence. I was the sentence. The next sound was the mother's voice. Steady now. He is sleeping. That is fruitage. Not my doing, not suggestion. Presence realized. And help arriving without theatrics. Guard yourself from platitudes that injure. There are no accidents in divine mind. How quick we are to fling that at a bleeding hour. Do not. When people are raw, truth told as slogans is cruelty. The master did not argue the sea. He was the calm and said, peace, be still. If a word rises of its own authority, it will be like that few bearing peace. It may be as simple as, you are not alone, or rest now, or call him back in the morning. It will never be a lecture about the unreality of appearances. Give not a thought to the person or to the condition. Stand by in consciousness. You will notice a pattern in the fruitage. Ease arrives first. The clutch in the chest loosens. The room that was a fist opens like a hand. Then timing aligns itself. The car that would not start receives an unasked for boost. The very neighbor who can handle the child knocks at the door. The exact nurse answers on the first ring. The one officer on the scene who can de-escalate steps forward. A necessary document, delayed for days, appears on the desk without your chasing it. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Is, when realized, it shows up in these human ways, unlabored, precise. If the pressure insists that you explain, resist. Explanations are often a disguise for fear. Presence needs no defense. Hold to the order. 2 words spoken, I will help you, and then the inner posture that gives God room to be God. If, and only if, something is given, let it be brief and tender. Then release the situation again into isness. Keep the mind from rehearsing outcomes. Keep the tongue from printing slogans. Keep the heart stayed. I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. Do you follow that presence outperforms speeches under pressure? This is your crisis ministry. Simple, disciplined, faithful. We do not run with buckets to a fire that is smoke of suggestion. We open the window and let the wind of spirit clear the room. I will help you. Then hush. Give not a thought to the person or the condition. Recognize isness. Listen. The fruitage will tell you whether it has been real, the quieting, the right help at the right moment, the path made plain without your straining. And even when the picture persists for a season, you will be kept by a peace that does not depend on reports, because you are standing where the one stands, doing what the one does, and letting the one be all. Do you see? Now we must speak softly about the protection of this work. What is sacred grows in silence. If you parade it, you spend it. When thou prayest, the Master said, enter into thy closet, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. The reward is not applause, it is fruitage. Do you see? The inner companionships, the impulses that rescue you from a foolish word, the hush that steadies a house at midnight, the verse that rises like a hand on the shoulder, keep them in the heart. Words are only auxiliaries. Words sometimes are an interference. Guard the atmosphere from which they come. Do not advertise what cannot bear the noise of curiosity. Scripture gives us a pattern for this. When the 3 stood on the mount, and the light broke, and the voice said, this is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear ye him. They were charged. Tell the vision to no man, until the Son of Man be risen from the dead. After a healing, see, thou tell no man. When Jairus' daughter rose, he charged them straitly that no man should know it. And of Mary it is said, she kept all these things and pondered them in her heart. This is not secrecy as fear. It is secrecy as stewardship. It preserves function from becoming phenomenon. It lets the realization ripen until it can be known not by your story, but by what quietly comes to pass. Let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth. Do you follow that? Keep boundaries. Speak when impelled. Otherwise, silence is service. If a word is given, it will be few and tender. If not, be still. I will help you that is sufficient as speech while you stand by in consciousness. Drop explanations. Drop proofs. The moment you begin to decorate an experience for an audience, you shift from as and is into performance. As says, God appearing as you is the work. Is says harmony already is. Performance says, see what I did. That is the bait of ego inflation. Do you see that secrecy preserves power and prevents ego inflation? If you feel an itch to report, refrain. Wait for fruitage to say what you cannot say without diminishing it. Respect the suffering. Never use truth as a club. A slogan thrown at a bleeding hour bruises the reed that the master refused to break. A bruised reed shall he not break, and the smoking flax shall he not quench. Be a quiet shelter. Let your presence say, without words, comfort ye, my people. If something must be spoken, let it come from the hush, not from your cleverness. Let your speech be our way with grace. And if grace says, be silent, then your silence is a ministry. Give not a thought to the person or to the condition. Stand by in consciousness. Presence comforts better than sentences. Understand ordination. You do not take it. It takes you. Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you that ye should go and bring forth fruit, not bring forth reports, fruit. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. That is ordination. As God appearing as you is the living of God now. A title hung on the door does nothing for this. A certificate does nothing for this. Grace uses you, and your part is receptivity, fidelity, and the secrecy that keeps the oil from spilling while you travel. If you are used, you will know it by the fruitage, the ease that arrives, the right door that opens, the peace that keeps you. Others will know it, not by your advertising, but because around you the air is kinder and the timing true. By their fruits ye shall know them. Make this practical. Keep a private altar and a private record, not for display only, to remember God's benefits and to stay honest with yourself. Refrain from recounting inner companionships at the table, in letters, in classrooms. If asked for explanations, offer help, not histories. I will help you. Then hush. If an example is required to serve another's faith, and you are impelled, give it once, quietly, without embroidery, and leave it. Do not argue your reality. If I bear witness of myself, my witness is not true. Let the Father who sees in secret speak openly by fruitage. This is a sober way. It is not a lazy man's work, but it is simple. Be still. Know. Protect the inner with silence. Let as and is do their work within the closet. Then go about your day without publishing holiness. At the right moment, what has ripened in secret will appear as guidance, as supply, as health, as reconciliation, openly, and you will find no need to say much, for the presence will have spoken for you in the only language that convinces by your life experience, by the fruitage. Do you see? The life of this does not live at the mount alone. It walks in kitchens and corridors. Begin simply. Before the feet find the floor, consciously know as and is. God appearing as you, this is your identity. Harmony already is, this is your atmosphere. 60 to 90 seconds. Here I am, Father. Then be still. This is the day which the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Not a pep talk recognition, do you see? Words are only auxiliaries. A brief listening at the door of dawn sets the rhythm for the house. No blueprints. Availability. In him we live and move and have our being. Let that be the first motion. Carry one sentence as the day's government. I live, yet not I, Christ. liveth my life. Let that, without strain, be the invisible hand on your shoulder, at the sink, at the telephone, on the street. It is not a banner to wave. It is a quiet law of being. The mind will reach for a list. Give it instead a trust. Give us this day our daily bread. Bread is guidance, courage, humor, timing, supply. It arrives when you cease to bake it with anxiety. Consent to be the branch, the sap is given. Consent to be the witness. The one is the doer. Do you follow that? Make touch points holy in their smallness. At meals, pause into isness. Not a recital, an inward nod. Omnipresence is, I am. Then eat with gratitude and without bargaining with money. Pause. Before sending, before asking, before fretting, step out of the river. Give not a thought to the person or to the condition. Name fear as suggestion. Return to isness. Then act as directed. Even if the direction is to wait 1 hour with meetings, come a minute early in consciousness. Even if the clock says you are on time, stand by. Here I am, Father. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. You will notice that interruptions become appointments and objections become doors because you are not the arranger, you are the attended. On any call for help, keep to the order we have learned. Outwardly, 2 words, I will help you. Inwardly, drop person and condition. Resist not evil. Stand by in consciousness. Be still and know, if a word is given, it will be few, and it will carry peace. If none is given, say nothing. My sheep, hear my voice. This is function, not phenomenon. Presence does the work when you do not interfere with speeches. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will see the ease arrive, the right hand appear at the right time, the panic settle itself like dust when the wind ceases. Close the day as quietly as you opened it, not with inspection that accuses, but with gratitude that remembers. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits. Let a verse that visited you in the afternoon be thanked by name. Note a line or 2 in your private record. A pause that softened the tone. A delay that saved the blunder. A nudge to speak or not speak that bore peace. If noise had your ear for an hour, mark it without drama. Resolve to return to the altar tomorrow. This is shepherding, not scolding. You are training trust. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He restoreth my soul. Then sleep under a simple benediction. I live, yet not I. Christ liveth my life. The night belongs to God as much as the morning. Go to bed in as and is, and you will wake nearer the surface of that sea. This is not a lazy man's work, but it is simple and it is kind. A steady rhythm of receptivity lets the one presence appear as your day at the doorbell, in the ledger, on the highway, at the sickbed, and in the laughter that meets you at your own table. Pray without ceasing does not mean talk without ceasing. It means walk in a room that is always full. So we go on quietly available, refusing the temptation to perform, consenting to be used, measuring by fruitage, guarding the inner with silence. I will help you. Do you see we walk with what is already here? Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Let that be the air you breathe, the steps you take, the rest you keep. And tomorrow, again, before the feet find the floor, here I am, Father. Then listen.